can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Cody Gibson takes on Aoriqileng this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Vancouver. And this is a decent matchup. You know, Cody Gibson trying to bounce back from his second round Kimura loss to Damon Blackshear. We had a really good showing of himself before he got out grappled. Taking on Aoriqileng, who's been out of the cage for about a year now. Going to be about 13 months since he last stepped in there against Raul Rosas Jr. Lost that fight by unanimous decision pretty clearly. Was just kind of out grappled in that one. So curious to see how this one plays out. Aoriqileng, more of a striker, kind of deficient when it comes to the grappling in the wrestling game, whereas, you know, Cody Gibson getting up there in age, but been in the UFC for a while. He's got a lot of experience. He's very well rounded, and you know, I think that he's a little underrated. You know, Cody Gibson. I think he's pretty good. I think he's you know, never going to be champion by any means, but I definitely think he's a tough night out for a lot of guys. So Cody Gibson, like I said, 38 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach, 21-11 in his career. Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, former collegiate wrestler at Menlo College out in California. Just gritty dude, good pressure, puts on a high pace, good striking, puts everything together, you know, very well. And he's had a couple good performances the last few times out against Chad Anheliger, Brian Kelleher, losing to Miles Johns, Brad Katona. Those are you know, respectable losses. He was in the UFC a while back in, you know, 2014, 2015. Got cut, came back on the Ultimate Fighter, and now he's on his second stint in the UFC. 2-3 out of his last 5 fights in the UFC. So another loss could see him, you know, kind of getting cut from the organization. Taking on Aoriqileng, 32 years old, 5'7", with a 69-inch reach, 25-12. So both these guys, not awesome records, but, you know, tons of experience going into this fight. So two really well-rounded guys. Aoriqileng, like I said, more of a striker, very aggressive on the feet. You know, good combination, strong body shots, strong hooks. Likes to put you know, a lot of pressure on his opponents, you know, a high pace as well. So I think this is going to be a really fun back and forth fight. But I'm going to have to go with Gibson. You know, I think Gibson will just be a little too much for Aoriqileng. His pace, his pressure, you know, he can strike, he can grapple very well. He's got really good takedowns, and I just think he's a dog. You know, he's very gritty, just pushes forward behind his punches, looking for takedowns. Doesn't get tired. He's got a really good gas tank for, you know, how big he is for the division. Just very big and strong. Probably one of the bigger guys in terms of just a physicality standpoint. And rangy too, 5'10", 71-inch reach. Can have a 2-inch reach advantage against Aoriqileng in this one, and does a really good job of utilizing that reach, putting a lot of volume out there on guys, and again, just not taking off the gas. He had a really good first round in his last fight against Damon Blackshear, landing good shots, you know, putting him against the cage, dirty boxing, just kind of keeping Damon Blackshear on the back foot. He looked very fluid on the feet, good combos, getting the better of Blackshear on the feet, which is impressive because we've seen Blackshear, you know, put guys out on the feet and look really good while doing it. And like I said, had a, you know, one of the best showings that we've seen of him as of late before he got Kimura'd, which is just crazy because, you know, that was his most recent fight. He's 38 years old. He's been in the game for a long time, but he looked really good in that fight. And he's one of those guys where you look at his age and you kind of, it makes you double think whether you should pick him. But he's not slowing down. You know, he doesn't look like he's, you know, slowing down the same way with like Davey Grant on this card, which I'll get to later, break that fight down as well. These guys are getting up there in age, but, you know, they're still hanging in there with the younger guys and not really starting to fade out like we see a lot of guys as they push 40. So I think that Cody Gibson will have a similar performance over Aoriqileng. I just think his pressure, pushing Aoriqileng back, his takedown threat will make Aoriqileng a little hesitant to throw and open up, just for fear of Gibson, you know, sliding under and getting his takedowns, and that's what I think will happen. I think Gibson will be getting his takedowns pretty easily in this one, and you know, I think Aoriqileng, he's either attacking in a lot of his fights or he's kind of waiting for his opponent to attack, just kind of stands in front of them, willing to kind of sit in the pocket. And I think Cody Gibson can time his strikes and get underneath of him for his takedowns, or push him back, push him into the clinch, and kind of crash in the way that he does and look for double legs there. Aoriqileng's takedown defense is only 58%. His last fight against Raul Rosas Jr., he had nothing for Raul Rosas in that fight on the ground. He just looks kind of lost on the ground, honestly. Not closing his guard, not even really kind of threatened with subs or sweeps or anything to get back to his feet, just kind of holding, waiting for the round to end so that he can get back up to the feet and try to land something. And I just think Cody Gibson, he'll dominate him there technically and with his pace, not really letting Aoriqileng rest by any means. I I think he'll be landing ground and pound, looking for submissions and not letting Aoriqileng just kind of lay there on his back the way that he was able to do against Raul Rosas Jr., who wasn't really submission hunting, it didn't seem like, wasn't really landing ground and pound, just was kind of content to hold him down there and, win the rounds, win the decision. And Aoriqileng hasn't fought in 13 months. And a big thing for me is he just gets dominated in the grappling, There was a fight where he was getting beat up on the feet against, I think it was Daniel Marcos as well, where it went to a no contest because there was like a groin shot that I don't even think landed, and I felt like Aoriqileng knew that he was losing that fight, knew that it wasn't going to turn around for him, and he just kind of looked for a way out. And I feel like if that's what you're going to do in an MMA fight, if you just feel like I can't trust you to dig deep for the win or to, grit out the fight even though it may not go your way, I just can't pick somebody like that. And I don't think Cody Gibson would ever do something like that. I think that he would find a way to get back into the fight and at least try to win it. Whereas Aoriqileng, it seemed like he knew that he wasn't going to win and, saw an opportunity to salvage a no contest. So I'm going to go with Gibson even though he's 38. Still puts on tons of pressure, very well rounded, looked great in his last fight, even though he lost. And he's tough, never been KO'd. I just think he's going to be all over Aoriqileng and just kind of maul him en route to getting a submission or a decision win. Thanks.